Hey, there we are. Hello, friends. It's been a while. I'm going to do some streaming with Facebook Horizon today. Unfortunately, for me anyway, Alyssa's not with me. She is at a conference. She is in person in Kansas City doing KCDC. So she won't be joining me on the show today. Instead, I'm going to try to work on the game design that we've put together. And I'm going to build out the level as much as I possibly can in the next hour or so. Feel free to ask questions along the way. I'm going to jump over to VR here in just a sec. If you're new to the show, I'm using the Oculus Quest, and I'm working in an environment called Facebook Horizon. If you haven't heard of Facebook Horizon before, it's currently in beta still. It's an invite program, but they are expanding it pretty frequently. It's pretty simple sign up. I don't think it takes too much to get into the beta these days. So if you want to jump into that, I can grab the link for you. Get you to the sign up page. Not associated with Facebook or Horizon in any way. It's just something fun that Alyssa and I have gotten into and decided to bring on the Twitch platform and share with everybody. So here, I'll drop that link in the chat. So if you want to check it out, you can. And we've been working on a game. It's going to be a ninja and Kendoka shooter. And basically, we're going to run through a level, and we'll have targets set up, and whoever can shoot the most targets in a given amount of time is going to be the winner. We haven't quite got that far yet. We need a level to run around in first. So I'm going to go over, get my headset ready, share my screen with you guys, and we can check out the tools in there. There's been a lot of updates since the last time we streamed, so some things might look different. If you have questions about that, feel free to ask. There we go. Here's my my game screen. I gotta put on the VR headsets real quick here. Give me just one sec here. All right. The most fashionable piece of equipment for my stream. And now I am in my virtual world here. So give me 1 sec to get situated. Just double check in chat. I can see chat from in the headset, and I also get alerted on that as well. And I should be able to check the microphone here, get it adjusted for VR. So you should be able to hear me better if I have my Oculus headphones or Oculus microphone on. So looks like we're good to go. I'm looking off into space over here. Let's actually jump over and look at the level from a different perspective. What's cool about Horizon is you do all the editing right inside of the virtual world, and it's kind of like playing with a little set of toys almost. So I can zoom out as far as I want and look at the level. I'm zoomed out to about 500 times here. You can see at the bottom. Um, it tells me exactly how far my zoom is. So everything looks super tiny, but as I zoom in, you can see there's a full level that we can play in. This side of the level's gotten pretty detailed. This is something I was working on earlier today, and we've actually worked on this quite a bit throughout the show, but I was kind of tinkering with it today and adding some new features to it. So we'll walk through that in a second, and then we'll pick off a different part, maybe this tower here, and build a little bit more on it today. Uh, let's jump down. You'll see me pointing at my hands a lot. All the controls to edit in this world are inside of my two controllers here. So we can jump into preview mode by pressing up on the control stick. There's undo, redo, snap controls. I can grab, copy, paste, paint things, and so on and so forth. So we'll jump down. Again, this is going to be like themed off of some of our branding stuff. So we've got our ninja and Kadoka themed stuff, and we're gonna have like a temple. We've got some of these really cool arches here, and I was working on this today. They have updated the graphics engine in here to allow us to texture things. So if you saw this before, it looked kind of bland. Now there's nice textures on all the rocks and the dirt, that sort of thing. So we can get pretty detailed with the graphics on uh, the levels now. So it's looking pretty good. Um, Not a lot of continuity here though. We've got a little bit of grass on the left side here. We've got this nice staircase or ramp that leads us up to the top platform, but then the level stops. It's kind of just white blocks that we use to template out where things will eventually go. So we're going to have kind of a horseshoe or donut shaped level. We're going to be able to go up and down these different ramps here, and we'll be shooting at things along the way. We haven't quite gotten to our targets and all of that stuff yet. So you can see I've got a little bit of nice sloping to the ground. I was working on that today. Pretty proud of that. One of my pet peeves with 3D games and level design is the flatness of things. The real rookie beginner mistake to have everything just level and one flat across the board. So I'm gonna try to like focus in on this temple a bit. It's one of the first things we stubbed out when we started working on this. Just double check and chat again real quick. Looks like everybody's a little quiet today. That's all fine. I know Alyssa's not here to get chat riled up and going, but she's busy today. So we'll have her back next time we have a VR session. But we stubbed this out really early on. It's kind of the centerpiece for the level here. And the idea here is that we have a main point to navigate around in the level. So if I put this over my left shoulder as a player, I'm not going to get lost. I know where I'm at all times. I can see this thing from wherever I'm going to be in the map. So I like to have big landmarks like that when I do designs like these. It's been a long time since I've built levels for games, but back in the day, I used to build Counter-Strike levels. So this is not new to me completely, but things inside of Horizon are new. Did I do a rough paper version? Or am I building as I go? So we didn't do a quote paper version, but what we did do, I'll highlight that up on the screen. Um, what we did do is instead of creating kind of like a paper mock-up, which I used to do with my Counter Strike levels back in the day, until I learned how to kind of block these things out. And these real-time editor tools help a lot more too. What I do is I use these white blocks because they give you a sense of scale. So we white blocked out the various ramps to get up and down the platform, and then decorated in on the right hand side here. This was like this. If I take this block here, this is what this used to look like just a couple versions ago. I can get this to undo. There we go. So it used to just be a white block like that, and that kind of identified where that piece was going to exist in the map. And now you can see what that looks like now. So instead of getting out a piece of paper and sketching, we just throw some blocks around. We use our player spawn here as kind of a scale reference as well. So planning these things out in VR, I think, is a little bit better than paper, just in my opinion. Recreate Quake for VR within Horizon, that would be interesting. I think that would be quite the endeavor. This won't be so much player versus player directly like shooting at each other, but I think we're gonna have like we're gonna have some props that come up either randomly, or we haven't quite figured it out yet. We do have some game mechanics stuff kind of stubbed out. We did some coding in here not that long ago. You can look back on our YouTube channel and see how we built some of the coded bits here. But we do have the infamous butter gun because we haven't created the model for the physical gun object yet. So we have this what we like to call the butter gun because it looks like a stick of butter, and you can kind of shoot and keep score. Um, these are just prototypes of. You can see it's kind of glitchy. It's not counting every shot there for some reason. Uh, it is keeping score, but we haven't quite decided what the enemies are going to be, and how all of these things are quite going to interact. But we're getting there. We're getting there. We'll figure it out as we go. I think ideally we'll have some sort of bad, enemy that's lurking around the map, and several players will go out at a time and see how many of those they can rack up points on before a timer runs out. So we've got some basic things stubbed out here. We're gonna have like a Zen garden. There'll probably be some more temples around the backside here. A Zen garden, a koi pond. We're gonna have like a bamboo forest to run through. Maybe some mountainside stuff. We've got some nice photos that we've collected as well. I don't have them with me here today. Alyssa usually jumps on and shares those on screen for me. So I'm kind of short on my references today. But what I'm going to do to start with this, I think I'm going to kind of just move this all aside and maybe rebuild just a little bit. This is technically just a placeholder. So it's a nice reference point, but I probably want to do something a little more um, like I did with the rock path here. So this started off really rough. We added some bits as we went along, and you can see now it looks like a nice game piece. So if we jump inside of it, you see there's nice detail with the rock floor and the arches as we go up. There's some lighting that's been added. So we're going to do that on that side. So I'm going to take this out. There's even a little bird perched up there that we kind of slid in there as a fun gag. And then I'm just going to lift this out and I'm going to group it and just kind of move it aside. I don't want to delete it yet because I still want it as a reference. I might come over here and take pieces of it and kind of add them back to the pile here and decorate as needed. And then we've got our handy dandy player reference here. I think the entrance to the temple will actually be on this side. I don't think it's going to be a piece that we're going to walk inside of, but we do plan. I don't know if I can rotate this either. I can't. But the door would be here, even though we're not going in it. We want to kind of mimic that it's a piece that we could actually walk inside of. All right. I'm actually going to slide this ramp over slightly a little bit too. Just get it out of my way, and we'll kind of design around it. Um, I'd like to have some elevation here too, possibly. You could see we've got some grass that slopes down. It's going to come down into a Zen garden. We might have like a little road or something that comes through here. So the more elevation, the more realistic this is going to look. So might build this into like a small hillside or something too. Right. So I'm going to come back here and grab the base off of this just to serve as another reference point here. So I'm going to ungroup that guy and bring it back. And we'll try to drop this back in about where it was. And that looks pretty good. Again, the front door probably be where this is standing. And then this is kind of the pedestal um, of the tower. And what I want to do is build kind of a rocky face around the front side here. Maybe put like a little grass awning on top. We're not going to be like running and jumping up into it. So we want to have it kind of like a nice little cliffside here. Might be able to have a little secret jump action on there to like kind of get up here and move around quickly or something. Aztec Consulting, welcome back. I know you were missing the show. Nice to have you back. Nice to be back as well. Let's see. So again, we've got the grass kind of laid out here. Um, let's do. We might even have like a little water feature or something around here. It'd be really cool. Let's get. See, something is blocked off here. I think that's the ground. I don't want to move the ground, so I've got it locked. You can see it. There's a lock feature. If you see a red border around it, I've locked it, so it's not going to move. I'm going to unlock these bricks here so I can move them around, though. What I don't want to do is accidentally move um, like this piece back here. I'm going to lock that down. It's nice to just kind of lock some things in place before you start working on the design there. And then why can I grab that? I have a feeling that this piece is, yeah, baked into. I inadvertently grouped this together. I'm going to ungroup that real fast and then kind of regroup the grass down here. Group all those together and then I'll lock that in place there. So now my grass won't accidentally get moved on me. All right. So if you're new here, this is all of the basic shapes that we have to work with. So there's about 15, I think, 3 rows by 5 rows, 15 shapes that we actually have. We can't manipulate individual vertices or create unique shapes. We have to kind of compile these shapes to make things. So even something as complex as this arch are made of just basic shapes. And you can kind of see it in the rock path here as well. They're pretty much just spheres that have been flattened out and some just geometric shapes that have been used for blocks and rocks and things. So we'll do the same here. We've got a couple pyramids here, and it's okay if they overlap and all of that. So let's take and we're going to try to create like a nice rocky surface around this. And if I can grab these properly, I'm just going to kind of stuff these off to the side. These were kind of a rough draft of what we could do here. And I might use something like this to kind of create a border. And I think I still have an issue where these items are grouped. And that is not intentional. So what I can do here is I can group or in the group, I can zoom in on the group. You can see the rest of the world kind of went dark. I can come in. I can see there's another subgroup in here. That's where I'm having an issue. So I need to select within the group. There we go. And ungroup that subgroup. I'm going to back out. It's still grouped. We'll break that up. There we go. Move that guy out of there. It's just getting in my way. We'll go ahead and move the bush out too. What's unique about this is the way that you kind of edit these things in real time. I think it's really cool, the way they've set up the editor for this platform. I'm trying to get these to snap as well. There's a snapping feature that you'll see me use. If I press this, you'll see the lines to a grid in here. You see the grid markers popping up here as I move things around. I can even grab the edges and snap them to other objects that are within the grid there. All right. So I want to kind of make like a cliffside edge. I'm gonna see. I want one of those shapes. I've got one here I can borrow, and we'll move this one out. And what I can do with this, kind of shrink this down. I can use multiples of these to kind of create a rocky looking. I can even kind of angle them like that. Um, the idea is to try to make them look organic. If Alyssa was here, she was really good at making things look organic. I'm good at like the stuff that looks engineered, the human made things, stuff that has pretty exact angles and buildings and arches and things. I'm really good at symmetrical things. Making things look organic is really hard. It really is. These rock paths and things, um, getting these to look natural is kind of a pain, but we managed to do pretty good there, I think. So I'll probably take something like this and then start like on a level playing field here, just so it's easier to line some things up. I'll use my duplicate tool and I'll bring a duplicate of this up. And then what we can do here is I'm going to go steal, or let's see, let's go look at it. You can see we have textures now. And there we go. If I grab, see, it won't let me. Is it locked? Is that one locked? It's not locked. I think I need to go into the group to do this. We'll group two objects. I don't know what I'm grouped on. There we go. That's the one I wanted. So I'm going to zoom into the group here and take my paint tool. And if I hover over it, it'll turn into a dropper. And then I can just jump back out of this. And there we go. So I've got my paint tool again with the same style as that rock over there. We can paint that on. You can see the nice textures on here now. So if you remember from previous shows, it's been a while. It's been about a month since we've been on. We took a little summer break from streaming. We got a big release coming up and stuff we had to prepare for. So we kind of been away for just a short bit. They added a texture profile here. And if I scroll through, there's not a lot, but there's enough. There's enough here to make things look really cool. And we've got this texture pattern here, and I've applied it to that rock with that dark gray color. It makes it look like a nice rocky surface. And then we can come up to this block and get a green color going here, and then grab like a speckled spot Um, I think there's another few in here. This one's decent for like some bushes and things, that coral pattern. This is actually probably a really good one for this. We can hit it with that. Maybe get a medium size on there. You can see we've got kind of a puffy pattern on that. And then it's got a bit of a glossiness to it. I don't want that for grass. Grass isn't really that glossy, so I can slide this slider around and I can hit that again. You'll see it kind of dim the glossiness of that texture. So we'll bring it up just a little bit because these things, that are organic like this, they're wet sometimes. Grass is always kind of damp. It does reflect some light, so we don't want it to be completely um, where it has no reflection at all. We don't want it to be totally dull. And then we can grab these on and snap them together. That's why I said it's a little easier to do this while it's level. So we can kind of put like a grass cap on the top of it. And what we might want to do with this is either expand this off a little bit. Let's see how that looks. If we kind of make it just a tiny bit bigger. And now it's kind of overhanging just a little bit. I'm not sure if I really like that or not. Bring it back down just a little bit. Kind of have either the choice of it matching up exactly. It looks a little Minecrafty. We can accent it a little bit too. So what we can do is come in and grab, say, another shape. I don't know if I want a pure square. We could do like a rounded edge square. Um, Still confused by the new menus here. Maybe something like this. And kind of paint that up. And then let's see if we can lay this in on one of the sides or something. Just on one of the edges and make it overlap. See how this turns out. And then we'll bring this guy up and bring it way in just to give it a little bit of depth. And we might need to adjust scale here as well because the snapping's a little too exact. But what we can probably do, see, snapping isn't 100% perfect on this. It doesn't snap to all edges of this. What I think it wants to do is snap to the bounding box instead of the actual shape. Yeah, see that? That's a little bit of a pain. I don't necessarily like that, but this is the tools we have to work with in here. We can at least center it. There are there are not prefabs. So there's a question about prefabs there. There are not prefabricated pieces, unfortunately. That I'm not sure if that's working out either. But you can see where the idea is. I might need to actually just expand this in, and that might fix it. So if I hold this down and click, let's try this again. There we go. Make it so I don't accidentally pick up the piece behind it. You get this weird kind of shimmer effect if you don't line this up right. Let's try going a little bit above. Boy, those textures can stretch pretty weird up there. I don't know if I need to reapply that pattern or what, but you can see that that kind of got funky. So if you want assets, you actually have to kind of build your own assets in this. So you can see if I zoom way out here, I've got some props down here. Alyssa and I had a little prop build off. That was her arch, and this is my arch. We we're arch nemesis, right? Um, Dad jokes. We built these as a competition. I won our competition on that one, but she built some trees that I really like, and she won that competition. So we're gonna have trees that we can just go smack around the map. We've got some bamboo that we can place anywhere. So you can copy paste things, but you do have to kind of start from scratch. There's no like marketplace or anything, not quite yet anyway. We can go and just kind of get things and import them into our levels. Um, it's even kind of hard to share still at this point between your own assets. There we go. I had to repaint that. That's kind of annoying. I have to remember that. So if you resize something, you have to repaint it for that texture to kind of be applied to it. Um, Still not sure about this. Still not sure. So I might actually bring it in ever so slightly. And then that's kind of odd. Kind of odd. Just trying to figure it out here. I might end up like I did with some of the other bits over there. So we get these placed, and then find out that there's a better way to do it once they're kind of meshed together. So I'm grouping these. So I got some chat stuff coming in here. Uh, Tweeted this. Thanks for tweeting out the stream, and back to early game creation time, but with more advanced technology. Yeah, I think the frame of reference using there is the the games are pretty primitive, but the technology isn't, which I think is really cool because this is the time you can really be creative with stuff. I really like the creative aspects of it. The tools are I mean, it's, Minecrafty graphics somewhat, but we're in VR. I mean, I can jump right into the game and see it in real time and check, the what do you call it? The scale of things and see um I can edit scripts and everything right inside of here, which is pretty darn amazing. If you've built levels with game engines before, these things that I'm doing often meant you had to jump into like another editor outside of the game. Sometimes using your imagination versus actually seeing things be built. Um, Textures might not be rendered in their full quality. Um, Building like Counter-Strike maps, I remember it taking hours sometimes before you could go from edit mode into the game and actually like play the game. So small changes, like incremental changes, took forever to get working. All right, so the game's I think it's messing with me here. I'm unable to select the block that I placed, and I don't recall grouping it. Did I group it by accident? Well, now it's grouped. That's for sure. So I'll probably grab like, where I make like a cornerstone bit here. We'll fill in the middle with some other stuff. Maybe not go so cookie cutter with it, but maybe make these kind of a corner piece and then fill in the middle with some other pattern that might be interesting to look at. So we need some more rockiness. Well, maybe we'll grab some more of these uh, pyramid shapes and bring them back into this. Try to figure out where these might sit. And what's nice to remember here is things don't have to be um, so literal in this environment. So, like, it doesn't have to be a straight up and down pyramid. I can turn these things on their side, and maybe I just need like a corner bit like that to make it look rocky, and I can use that angle to my advantage to make it look like something that it's you know make it look like a little cliffside instead of just a pyramid. So now they're kind of like jagged, sharp looking edges that stick out from the side of the rock here, and that looks pretty cool actually. And then down here, I don't really care for this bottom piece. We can just fill in some with some other shapes or something. So I can come over and, for example, use these the rocks that I've got here. Let's see if I can select this shape. There we go. I'll just take a copy of it
and kind of just throw it off to the side a little bit. And instead of messing that up by coming in here and messing around with it, I'll just pop into the properties, break it apart, and just use bits and pieces of it. And again, it'd be nice if we had those kind of asset libraries that we had a question about earlier, but we don't. So we'll get creative here, just kind of snap some things around, put some boulders in here, kind of fill in those empty gaps in the bottom. Kind of put some bigger pieces in here. It's okay if they cross over each other. That makes it look really convincing. And like I said, organic is hard, so we could do stuff like this. What's my asset budget at? That's a good question. So if we go into our main menu again, if you're new to Horizon and seeing me use it, there's a button on my thumb here that brings up the menu. I pop that menu up. We'll take a look here. There is a world button tab at the bottom, and there is a capacity in it. Geometric complexity, we are at 42% right now. It's still kind of high. I feel like there's a lot of wasted stuff in here that we could probably get rid of. We've got some additional assets. Some of these little prefabs we made can probably come down in size a little bit. There's probably some things in there we could tweak, but it's not too bad. Just adding some of these little rocky faces and things shouldn't cause too much overhead. Now, one thing that we should probably take into account for is like if you're in kind of like the real world here. Yeah, it's not too bad. If we're in the real world here, not talking VR world, but in real life, you look at something that's kind of shaped like rocky edge or something like that. When you have little grooves like this is where like little plants like to stick out and stuff like that. So we can even come up here and grab some of these. You can see I textured those with a little bit of that coral texture. Makes a nice little kind of mossy bush looking thing. We can take those and kind of wedge those in. Those little plants like to grow in cracks of dirt and stick out in the sun, and this all kind of helps with convincing people that this is a real environment. Skinny this up and stretch it out. You can do something like that. Selecting these things and not accidentally hitting something behind it's one of the more difficult bits of this whole thing. There we go. So we'll get something like this going. I feel like this needs to be taller. This isn't. I feel like I'm a giant or something. The scale's not quite right yet. It's just not there. And I think it's because of the grass. The grass is a little bit mounded up here. So in order for this to work right, I think it's going to have to go up taller. So let's go ahead and kind of move the elevation of this whole thing up a little bit. And I might have to do this piece by piece. You can see when I did a group select, it made the what do you call it? The handles in point in an odd direction. I didn't want it to go. If I pulled it, it would have went kind of at an angle. I don't want to do that. And these seem to be working okay. I don't know what was causing it to quite do that, but we can do that. And then let's see if we can stretch this without it getting too goofy. Yeah, it's stretching okay. So I'm just trying to adjust the scale of it a little bit. I want the rock cliff here to be a little bit larger than life. More large as life. There we go. Now I'm looking up at a rock cliff. It's not kind of eye level with me. Even if I try to, kind of shortcut jump that I can, but it still feels like it's above my head. It's big. It's big. I'm under it, and I got to look up to see it. I like that. That's a lot better because what we want to do is make sure it feels like you need to take this ramp up, and we still got a nice little stair step here. That's fine too. We can build a little set of stairs that go up to the front of the building there. Cool. It's starting to look a little better. I like it. I think we use a little greenery up on top of here too. Let's see, we've got these pyramids underneath. If I duplicate that pyramid, see if we can do the same type of effect here. I might need to take off my snapping. The snapping seems to be a problem. Let's see. Do a little paint on that. I really wish Alyssa was here to see all of this. She gets a kick out of building this stuff. She's traveling. I wish I could travel right now. It's just not in the cards for me. We've got older kids that are in school, and the pandemic thing is still going on. It's not quite time for that for me yet. But it won't be too much longer, I don't think. Yeah, that's not bad. It's okay if it's off just a little bit. Um, actually wonder if I should shrink those down. Kind of feel like they need to be hanging over or something. Can't get too much detail into these, obviously. You saw we do have a world budget to deal with. That's one of the harder things about um, game design is working within those budgets. It can be a little nerve wracking. When I was building levels for Counter Strike, um, the budgets on those games, try to face the camera, even though you can't see my face. The budgets on those games are really tight, and I mean they were probably a little more expansive than what we've got here. They're trying to keep the budgets tight on this because literally everything is running in the Oculus hardware. If you're working without a PC, I'm working on a PC. I feel like it's a little bit smoother, but essentially you're aiming for your lowest common denominator, which is an Android device that's running on your face. So you can't get too much detail into these things. You start blowing that budget up, and that can get not good really fast. I'm gonna do another one of these. I'm just trying to make this terrain here. So we've got some. You know what I think I can do here is rotate this slightly. No, that does not work because it makes a gap in that direction. Let's say I might be able to rotate that and make it look kind of nice, but um, kind of throws the floor out from underneath of it when I do that. Try to get this. There we go. Just so it looks like there's some greenery growing on top of it. We'll do that one more time. Just going to duplicate that up. We'll use our paintbrush tool and hit that with some more green. And a little bit of rinse and repeat here. It's not, you gotta watch the bottoms here too. Not that that's all bad, actually. It's okay if there's a little bit of green shining through. What we don't want to do is have it where sometimes it's too close, it'll start flickering. I don't see it flickering here. So you get where it overlaps to the point where the game engine can't tell where one shape starts and the other ends, and it'll start getting all weird and jittery on you. But that's not bad if it comes up. It looks like there's grass growing up the side of it. This boulder feels awkward where it's at. A very odd shape. Made it too egg shaped, I think. Doesn't look natural. Probably could use a different color or something too. It's getting a little monochrome here. Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. So, um, there could be some truth to that. I think what a lot of games do, and you'll see this in like Grand Theft Auto and some other big, open world game engines, is if you have an asset and it's kind of like a car or something in GTA. Um, if you see that car, you'll start to see it more often. Um, and this happens in real life too, which is kind of strange. But what they do is kind of save on memory. You get that same model, you repeat it, and then um, you repeat that model, so it saves on memory, and then you just kind of retexture it with a different color or something. And I think what's probably being done here in Horizon is these 15 shapes, it basically is the only model it needs to kind of keep track of. So by doing that, it's still the same shape and it's just duplicating it at different coordinates and maybe some different textures on it, but it doesn't have all these unique models that can have like billions of polygon, well, not billions, but lots of polygons in it that can eat your budget to shreds in a very short period of time. So yeah, I think you're right there. That's possibly one of the reasons is for performance. Another is ease of use with the tools. I think they want to make this open for anybody to use, and this is beginner friendly in my opinion. I know it looks kind of complex and um, there's a lot of nuances to it, but the like AAA game engines, as they like to call them, like Half Life and the ones that I can't remember the name of the one they use for Call of Duty these days, but those game engines are extremely complex, and you're not going to build something, an asset by yourself. You might, as a designer, build, you know, something simple things like an arch or two, and some of the textures that go into it, and the textures have light maps and um, reflection maps and um, what's the other things? The material, all that stuff has to be applied to it. So, I mean, you have a dedicated person for every little asset that's in that game. Where this, you can kind of build something by yourself or with a partner, and actually be pretty productive. So there's a little bit of a trade off there. So this is starting to look good, I think. Just adding little accents to things helps with the realism of it. So we've got, some grassy tops on these cliffs. We've got some dirt down below that kind of blends in with the grass, and it's not flat. Notice my surface here isn't flat. So we've got this grid that's flat. You see a lot of games for this, though. You'll see a lot of levels from beginners, um, and these will be super flat. So everything's kind of on one plane. Um, you're in VR. You want the user to look around. You have the ability of using your head to look and see things above and below you. What you don't want to do is build a level that is boring and linear on the same plane. So we've got kind of these rocky arches built here. We can go up our hill. We need to build the sides in there. We'll come around the back here. We'll tie all this in. Yeah, absolutely. There's a good one on Android phone. I guess it's on any mobile phone. I'm assuming it's on iOS as well. Talking to the back wall here, it feels weird not to face the camera. Uh, I can't see you, but you can see me, so it still feels weird. Yeah, so one thing on Android, or not Android, mobile phones, that's pretty cool. I think it's called, is it called Cricket? Not Cricket Wireless, but like Cricket. It's a game, and to beat the game, you basically solve little coding puzzles, and I think that's pretty neat stuff. But it's a similar like drag and drop coding type of thing. Okay, I think we might have a bot. Is that what we've got going on here? Yeah, we've got a bot. So give me a sec while I figure out how to eject this bot from chat here. Give me 1 second. Um, I don't have a moderator with me. So I'm going to take camera down for just a sec here. No, actually, that's not what I want to do. I want to go full screen. There we go. So you can still hear me, but I need to take the headset down for just a second and pull something up on my main monitor. So a dashboard up, and then I can ban some folks here or bots. It's just a bot. There's not a real human behind this, I'm sure. And let's see here. Oh, Twitch got on it that fast. Wow, very cool. Let's try something else here for 1 sec. See if I can do something here. So I'm still here. I know it's probably hard to see me, or you can't see me, but I'm doing something on my main screen for 1 second. Just bear with me here. Um, well, I guess I'll find this out later. I know there's a way that I can make folks in the chat room a moderator to help out with this, but I can't seem to find it right now. And I guess Twitch took care of it already. Yeah, that is fast. That's good stuff, man. There we go. So my VR covered face is back, and it looks like it's already been an hour. Can you believe that? That's a quick hour. Um, we'll keep going for a little bit though. This stuff is really fun for me. I used to do this all the time. I invested some time into building some pretty big levels for Counter Strike before it was really. I mean, it's really popular these days. It was popular back then, but I mean, it's used for like competitive gaming and stuff these days. Um, it's grown quite a bit from where it was before. So I built all types of interesting projects for that. Movie theater, a Dutch town, all sorts of stuff. Come on, work with me. I want to grab these rock faces here and make a copy. I want to play with these. I like the way that actually looks right there. Wondering if I should move that all the way to the top. Sometimes you do something by mistake and it works out really well. I like the angular piece of this, how it kind of like creates like a bowl here at the top. Might keep that. Just got to get it moved in the right direction there. Might keep it that way and then kind of adjust the bottom here, and that might let's pull one of these out. Yeah, I like that. Then if I take this one, I want the green layer only. Green layer only, please. I think I got it that time. And I'll scoot this around just a little bit. I didn't like the way it was sticking through. I like that better. That actually looks really good. So now we've got that nice rocky cliff face there. And if we go up on the top, that looks good. So we got to think about this section of it as well. And then now I'm looking at, I think the grassy caps there are just too thick. It looks kind of silly. Looks like it doesn't look like grass. It just looks kind of goofy in my opinion. So let's jump in on this guy, and then is this double grouped? That one's grouped again. Oh no. You know what? I'll just ungroup this. Try that again. Ungroup. What is it doing? I did not move that block and it just started going. All right, it's messing with me now. I'm not touching this. All I did is ungrouped it. Oh, I know what it is. When I skewed this as a group, it skewed it as one piece. And now that I'm trying to ungroup it, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm going to have to come back in and modify it as a group. That's kind of annoying. But it is possible. So there we go. That one's fixed. And then we'll shrink that one down a little bit, and that one's fixed. A little clunky on the edge there. We'll throw a little bit of cover over the top of that. Looking better though. Looking better. The grass got a little too high on that. Needed a trim. Needed a trim. So we'll take this one. Same thing. See if I can isolate the corner here. There we go. Shrink that one down. It's okay too if they're different sizes. Again, what I mean by different sizes, different heights on the grass is fine. We're trying to make it look kind of organic and not planned. So I don't know why the grouping is doing what it's doing, but it's working in my favor. So we'll keep going. Cool. You can see how this is gonna kind of turn out. I like the fact that if we're up here, if we're gonna have a building sitting here for the most part, but if we get on this ledge, I mean this is a pretty cool place to look out and see the rest of the map. So that's what I'm talking about with the elevation part of these things. You want people to explore and go up and down vertically. We're getting there. We are getting there. All right. So we got the front side done. We need to do something on the sides here as well. And I'm trying to think how I want to handle that. Might be cool to have it look like it's falling into like a pile of rock. Like taking this, for example, and moving some of these over. We'll grab this. And let's see what happens if we rotate this over here and kind of bring this down like that. kind of bring it into a pile of rock here. We'll fill in the space. Just kind of make these look like they've been kind of knocked into place here. Scoot these around a little bit. Trying to use some different techniques on these, but similar but different, to where it's not boring and not it doesn't look like a bunch of cookie cutter copy paste of different parts of the level. Because I could have easily just taken this, copied it, rotated it around, circled this all in. That would have worked pretty fine. For all intents and purposes, it'd be done, but I want to kind of add some variety here. We'll add some big boulders in. Now let's kind of move this guy up front, pile these up in it. Take this tree, move it around a little bit, make him bigger. And kind of overlap that. And then we need to kind of cover this face a little bit in a minute. But at least we're getting, we've got kind of a cliffy look there. And then we'll bring these boulders around on the other side as well. And we've got these too, we can kind of manipulate and stick in. Just double checking here too to make sure chat didn't get dropped when I was working on the ban issue there. I do have an audible thing set up to where I can hear you all chat with me. So I can look out and read the chat. It does take me a little bit longer to interact that way. But I do have the capability to hear the chat get transmitted as like speech to text or text to speech. So that's also helpful. But it's kind of an interesting setup. It's one of those things you don't think about till you have to experience it. Working in VR like this, um, I either have to task swap to see chat, or I have to have a screen reader read it out. Because if you think about it, like normally I'm coding, I've got another screen over there, another screen over there, and I can kind of swap monitors and look at different monitors as I need to. When you're in VR, you can't really do that. You've got a thing on your face, and you're kind of heavily focused in on what you're doing. So you can't really just jump out and read chat. You have to like hit a button. I have to hit a thing on my controller. It brings me out of the editor that I'm in, and I can read it. So I've got a screen reader set up, and you might be able to hear it over the top of my audio microphone here. But it does read out what you all say, and then if I hear it correctly, I can respond, or I can jump back to chat real quick and see what you said. I'm wondering if I can cover up the fact that this is a square somehow. So what I might do is on one of these sides, like this, like I have this here, is make a copy of it even, bring it over, and then if I take and nudge this in here, yeah, it would be really cool to do a video on how all of this works. Unfortunately, okay, I like this. I'm going to move this up and pull some of my rocks around. Um, there's one thing that I can't share because there's no screen share option for it. And the only way to see it is through my eyes. So I'd literally have to take like a camera, I guess, and put it in the Oculus. I haven't found a way to screen share the PC Oculus app yet. Have not found a way to do that. And let's see. Trying to obscure the fact that this is a square. So if I put something in here, there we go. Perfect. Almost perfect. Kind of want this down below here just a little. I got to tip it this way, maybe. I don't want it protruding through this. I can pull this up, I guess. Pull that up. There we go. That up. The right amount of balance between that and that. I guess that's probably fine. So I'm hiding the fact that this is a square by putting another edge around it, and then we'll paint it similar like that. And then I'll move the rock face that I built here inward and reassemble these around the edge like this. So there's like a dashboard, I guess you'd call it, that I can see inside my Oculus. And you can probably Google it and see it online or something, or I can Google it and share that screen so you can see what I'm talking about. But what's kind of a pain with it is there's no way to share it, and I do a lot in it, but you all don't see that. There we go. That's pretty cool. I'm capturing my desktop. So what you all see is my desktop. Here, we can jump out of this for a minute. Give me a second to kind of stretch my legs here. Face camera. So if I share, I'm going to stop my screen share. It's good questions. And I'll share my screen again, but I'll share my entire screen. And that one, this is what well, you're going to get Hall mirrors, obviously. But I have on my desktop, if I can do this without it going crazy or not. See at the bottom of the screen, I've got my Oculus app. Okay, there we go. And then I have, this is the window that I keep sharing to you. So when I'm inside of the VR environment, you guys see this screen. This is what I'm looking at in VR. But right now, I'm not looking at this screen. I'm looking at my desktop. And the screen is inside of it. I'm only sharing that screen so it looks like what I see in my headset. However, as you know, I'm not in the game right now. So there's another screen or there's another view in front of me even outside of the Windows desktop that I can see that you cannot. And there's no way for me to share it. And inside of that view, I have a toolbar that has let's see, there's a social tab on it. I wonder if there's anything I could share out of this. There is not. There's a home environment. There's a whole ton of stuff in here. I can do multiple desktops inside of this view. But that's an option. That is an option. Now, the problem with it is, if you so I'm using the Windows desktop here, Windows Oculus connection. It's more performant for one, so I think I get a full 60 frames per second out to Twitch through it, or whatever Twitch allows. If you use the browser-based version of the Oculus Share feature, um, it's not since you're on a limited device, the field of view is letterboxed, so it's only it's kind of like a phone almost. I'm trying to remember the exact resolution, but it's very narrow. It's tall, but not very wide, which surprised me because you would think it'd be wider, but I guess you don't have a lot of peripheral vision in the Oculus, so it just doesn't render very much horizontally. It renders more vertically, which is surprising to me. So you get a taller screen with letterboxes on the sides, black bars down the side. Whereas if I do it on the desktop, uh, my computer has more horsepower and it can just render as much as it needs. So it just does the full desktop resolution. And you guys get a much better, cleaner view. If you go back, we probably have some original YouTube videos of like the first or second time we streamed, and you'll see that very narrow letterboxed view. It's not as nice of a setup for you all as a viewer. But that's my setup right now. It works pretty good. This cliffside is coming out pretty nicely here. Um, This might where I'm walking might actually be lower too. I'm thinking maybe we'll have a little bit of a walking path or maybe a little creek or something running through there. Then we can go up the ledge. This is looking pretty good here. Um, that temple is going to stand in the center of this block. We've already got some natural stairs coming in just because of the shape that I made that. And then what we can probably do here is continue this around like this and still manage to make this even more organic of a shape by kind of angling this guy in, bringing this in, and duplicating that like one more time, and then shrinking it down even. And maybe stretch this a little bit too so it's not the same box shape over and over again. And we'll bring that one down here like this. There we go. So now it's kind of it's not an octagon, it's not a square, it's very organic. And then if we start painting everything the same texture, then you can see we kind of have like an island cliff face pedestal, whatever you want to call it, ready for our what do you call it? Our temple to be set up upon. And then we can detail this face a little bit more on each of these sides too. Thank you, Aztec Consulting. Appreciate that. So I'll take some more. I better lock down some of these that I like because I will accidentally move them and then we'll be in trouble again. So we'll take this, we'll grab some of these rocks again. And I do have to look back at my budget again sometime soon and see how much effect these rocks and things have had on my budget. We'll take these rocks, move them around here. And the game's kind of locked up or something. There we go. Jeez, I don't know why it did that. We'll move these around. And I'm just going to kind of half place those there and then move them individually again. Again, we don't want it to be like super cookie cutter, so we'll take these and kind of finesse them a little bit. We can even resize some of them so they don't look repetitive. We'll kind of make this area right here. Keep grabbing that grass, darn it. Put the lockdown on that grass. So don't keep grabbing the grass over there. We'll kind of place these around. It look like it. Keep grabbing the grass. I thought I locked it. Lock that. Lock that. There we go. Hopefully I got it that time. I keep picking it up instead of the stones I'm trying to copy over here. Nope, still managed to grab the grass. This is probably the worst part of the editor is this accidental selecting of things that I don't want to pick up. There we go. Lock it. Won't let me lock it. It's grabbing, if you grab multiple surfaces, this is grabbing like all the grass down here. Shoot. I can't select them all either. If I group them together, now I can lock it. But if they're not grouped, you can't lock them. So now that should get out of my way. Oculus Connect. Is that like an event or a device? What exactly is that? Oculus Consulting, Aztec Consulting. What is the Oculus Connect thing you were just mentioning there? You'll see me do a weird like flip to check something every once in a while. Cool. You'll see me do a weird like look like this every once in a while. That's to make sure that I don't have something levitating. It's kind of a pet peeve if something's lifted off the ground. But users definitely like don't always see that angle, but just from my experience, that's what I like to do. This is looking good. I like where we're at. We got a nice cliff face all the way around now. And we've gotten the square shape out of there. So like very early on, somebody was like, "Do you use like sketches or something?" And I was like, "No, I kind of do these blocks." And this is why. The sketches are nice. If I used to do that back in the day, but these I can go decorate. Yep. So we started with a square. We ended up here with kind of these nice cliffs and a space to run around the outside. And now if I go over here, and I'll just duplicate one of these blocks real fast. I still have that square down there. So I'm thinking I can probably go with a snap tool and I should be able to boom, snap that back in there. And I think that might be the original location of it, if I'm right. So now we have the temple there. And again, this is going to be the front door somewhere here. I might need to bring that up a little bit. Um, but we do have the outside of the temple, and it's a bit rocky up here in front. I like that. That's cool. We're probably not going to spend a whole lot of time as a game player, like running around the front cliff of this. So it's more for a visual piece. So it doesn't have to be like super accessible. This was not like 100% intentional. It just happened to kind of mesh that way, and I really like this the way it came out. But if I take this here and bring this down ever so slightly, like that, look at that. See these? I angled these all in, not even thinking about it. Oh, cool. I definitely will check that out. The broken sphere in front. Not sure I know what the broken sphere is, but I like the fact that this. Oh, so I like the way this kind of flowed when I brought that last block down. It kind of made natural steps here, so we'll eventually have like a door or something. Um, Not a real door, but like kind of a fake door. Sounds like a Rick and Morty sketch. This needs to go up or something. It feels very short. So if I bring my player model in, like a door, like right in the middle here somewhere, right where he's standing, and then we'll create um, kind of a path going up into this, and make it look like there's intentional stairs built into that rock face, and we can do that very easily. We'll put some more bushes out here out front. Um, might take like some of these little ones here and shrink them down, kind of decorate this piece like this, and kind of you get the idea there. And then stairs leading in. Pretty cool. So then we need to frame this out, detail this block. And I probably will do this off site. So I'll take this and move it like out here because I already have a frame of reference to how big this is. If I just copy this block over and put it on level ground where I can see really good, um, I'll probably come in here and like detail this out and make it look like a house. And then I can probably copy this and stack it a few times and not have to like be super repetitive. So I'm just gonna do a little cleanup here, and I think I'm done for today. I think Alyssa will be pretty impressed with where we've gotten so far. We have webinars all week next week, so I don't feel like we'll be back next week yet on a regular schedule. But we're working on getting back to a regular schedule with this. So it is shaping up nicely. Um, it's going to look really good, I think. You can see in the distance now too. Those arches look really cool with that rock face in the way. It's starting to look like game graphics now. It's not just white blocks everywhere. So we got a nice, interesting rock face there. Looks jagged. It looks really cool. And yeah, like some water or something in here would look really neat, I think. I don't know if we'll be able to pull that off with the game engine that we've got, but and we've got nice player space in here too, so we can put some enemies in that little cove here. Um, we'll start working on this. We're gonna have like a bamboo forest, I think, in the back, wrapping around the outside. We'll have to come up with some creative ways to make that look good without putting so many tree models in that we run out of budget. And we do run out of budget, we can always come back and clean up some of these smaller rocks and things, take some of that stuff out. But other than that, this is looking really cool. All right. So I'm going to hop out of my world so I can make sure it is saved. It does autosave on a regular basis too, and it has version control built in, so don't need to worry about all that. But it is 1 o'clock. been going for about an hour and a half now. So it's been fun to have you all again with me in Facebook Horizon. And if I can figure out how to get out of the game. Oh yeah, I have to be in player mode, then look at my watch, and then I can exit the Ninja Gallery shooter that we've been working on. So, and you can even see the save time on here, edited 2 minutes ago. So as soon as I exit this, it will save it again. Trying to remember how to hit the home here. Go to my personal space. There we go. So that'll save it out. All right. So 1 second here. Let me get my desktop back, and we'll do a raid or something. Let's see if we got any raid that can be had. Let's see here. All right. Apologize for the Hall of Mirrors.
Surge Dev, you're welcome. So again, this is Facebook Horizon. If you haven't seen it before, it's quite a cool tool. We didn't get into the coding part, but the coding you actually do inside of the editor that you saw as well. So if you look back at our YouTube channel, it is going to be youtube.com/Telerik. We'll get you there. If you look at previous shows that we did, you can see some of those. You can see some of those videos where we actually do scripting in that environment. And it's pretty cool how you can actually make the game code and logic right in that virtual editor. And I didn't mean to clip that. That's going to be fun. I meant to hit raid, not clip. We've got C# Fritz streaming, so let's go jump over and say hi to Fritz, see what he's up to. Thank you all again for hanging with me this afternoon. It's been fun. Looking forward to finishing that game up this next month or two, and we'll move on to some other VR topics. We've got some things planned for either later this year or early next year, involving maybe some Unity dev or something. So looking forward to that. And say hi to Fritz for us.